You ever get that feeling that you're just drowning in headlines about the future? It's this constant storm of breakthroughs and crises, and it's a lot. So, to cut through all that noise, we did something a little different. We got our hands on the entire catalog of upcoming academic research for 2025 from a major university library. So, let's dive into this treasure trove and see what the smartest people on the planet are really working on right now. And whoa, at first glance, it is just pure chaos. I mean, we're talking about everything from a lightweight cherry tomato detection network to Bayesian machine learning in quantitative finance, from the mathematical enigma of Guaman Poma's Upana to socioeconomics, philosophy, and denocoloniality, which, by the way, is a study of colonialism's lasting impact. It's this dizzying, totally overwhelming snapshot of human curiosity. How can anyone possibly make sense of all this?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Instead of getting tossed around by every individual wave, we wanted to map the deep ocean currents, the powerful underlying forces that are really shaping where all this brain power, and frankly, our whole world, is actually headed. So that's exactly what we did. We dug into the entire catalog, searching for patterns, for keywords, for connections, and what we found was, well, it was pretty fascinating. It turns out, buried underneath all that complexity, there is a hidden structure, a surprisingly clear pattern that points directly to where we're going next. You see, all this research isn't just scattering out into a million different directions. It's actually converging. The vast majority of these brilliant minds are focusing their energy on three massive interconnected forces that are basically defining the next era. So let's break them down. All right, force number one, we're calling it the AI saturation. And this is not about AI as some flashy new piece of tech anymore. The research shows it's becoming something way more fundamental. The best way to think about it is like electricity or the internet. AI is shifting from being this specialized tool for tech people to being a universal utility, like a foundational layer that's getting baked into and completely reshaping every single field you can imagine. And this is exactly what I mean by saturation. AI isn't just one thing anymore. In sales, it's being used to find new customers. In healthcare and even in agriculture, it's being used to spot diseases. And in finance, it's building completely new models for how money works. It is literally everywhere. And the rabbit hole goes even deeper. We're seeing intense research on using AI to spot deepfakes, to harvest cherry tomatoes, yes, really, to preserve our cultural heritage, and even to just make the user experience in your car a little less annoying. So here's the key takeaway. AI is no longer a separate industry. It's becoming the bedrock of all industries. Okay, let's shift gears to our second huge force. And this is so much more than just, going green. The research paints a picture where sustainability isn't a choice. It's a non-negotiable, fundamental driver of all future innovation. It's an imperative. There's a fantastic example in a book called Climate Finance. It breaks this massive problem down into a really clear, actionable process. You start by understanding the financial risks of climate change. Then you model what the future might look like. After that, you figure out how to get the money flowing. And finally, you aim that money at the hardest problems, like cleaning up heavy industry. This isn't just theory, it's a practical roadmap for rewiring our entire economy. And this feeling of urgency is a theme you see over and over. There's this quote from Factoring Technology in Global Sustainability that says the goal is to find insights into future trends and emerging technologies that will shape a more sustainable and equitable world. Did you catch that word, equitable? That's key. The research is telling us it's not just about saving the planet, it's about making sure the whole transition is fair for everyone. And that idea leads us perfectly into our third and final force, the global economic reshuffle. Because all this massive technological and environmental change, it's happening right as the world's economic power, and even how we think about economics, is being completely turned on its head. This shift is so fundamental that the old economic rulebook is basically being thrown out the window. Old models that focused on the West are giving way to new research on the rise of the East and emerging markets. The old idea of risk as something you could calculate is being replaced with brand new theories about radical uncertainty. And traditional banking, it's being completely upended by digitization. And the research dives deep into every single piece of this. You've got entire books on the geopolitical shift from west to east, brand new ways of figuring out valuation in emerging markets, and a total rethinking of the bank-business relationship in this new digital age.
It's a complete paradigm shift. So let's recap. We have these three massive forces: AI saturation, the sustainability imperative, and the global economic reshuffle. But here's the most important takeaway from all of this. These forces are not happening in isolation.
They're not on separate tracks. They are colliding, they're weaving together, and they're speeding each other up. The really groundbreaking stuff, the research that's truly going to define the next decade, is happening right at the intersection where these three currents meet.
And this is what we call the Great Convergence. Think about it. We're seeing research using AI to create super efficient green energy grids. That's AI saturation crashing into the sustainability imperative. But then, that new green tech needs new kinds of funding, often in emerging markets. And that's where the global economic reshuffle comes in. Each force feeds the others, creating this complex, amazing reality we're all about to navigate.
So, in the end, this little glimpse into the library of 2025 does way more than just show us a list of future books. It gives us a map. It shows us the biggest challenges humanity is taking on, and it details the incredibly powerful new tools we're building to face them. The only question left is the one this research can't answer. What are we going to choose to build with it all?